Chapter 15, Echoes of the Past. Holly felt the world around her dissolve, the familiar sights and sounds of present-day Mary Hollow fading away like mist in the morning sun. The vision took hold with an intensity she had never experienced before, plunging her consciousness deep into the town's past. Suddenly, she stood in a clearing, the air crisp with the bite of early winter. The great Christmas tree, now merely a sapling, stood before her, its branches reaching hopefully towards the sky. Around it gathered a group of figures, their faces etched with determination and a hint of fear. "This is it," a woman's voice rang out, clear and strong. Holly turned to see a witch who could only be her ancestor, Hollyberry Evergreen. "This is where we make our stand against the encroaching darkness of endless winter." Holly could feel the magic thrumming in the air, taste the metallic tang of power on her tongue. The founders of Mary Hollow stood in a circle, their hands linked, faces illuminated by the glow of their combined magic. "Are we certain this is the right course of action?" a doubtful voice asked. Holly recognized him as Nicholas Frost, Jack's ancestor. "Binding the winter spirits, it goes against the natural order." Hollyberry's eyes flashed with a mixture of compassion and steel resolve. "We have no choice, Nicholas. You've seen what unchecked winter can do. Entire villages buried in snow, crops withering in the fields. We must create a haven, a place where the warmth of Christmas spirit can flourish year-round." As Holly watched, she felt the weight of their decision. These weren't villains seeking to imprison winter out of malice, but desperate protectors trying to save their people from a force they didn't fully understand. The scene shifted, and Holly found herself years later, watching as Mary Hollow grew and flourished. The eternal Christmas magic infused every aspect of life, bringing joy and abundance. But beneath the surface, she sensed a growing unease. In a dimly lit room, she saw Hollyberry and Nicholas huddled over ancient tomes, their faces lined with worry. "The balance is shifting," Nicholas muttered, frost forming on his fingertips. "We've tipped the scales too far. Winter magic builds, seeking release." Hollyberry nodded grimly. "We need to implement the fail-safe. It's the only way to ensure that if our binding ever falters, there will be a chance to restore balance." Holly leaned closer, straining to hear as they discussed the intricate magical mechanism they were creating. A chill ran down her spine as she realized the full implications of their plan. The vision blurred again, time speeding forward. Holly witnessed generations of her family and the other founding lineages working to maintain the delicate balance of Mary Hollow's magic. But with each passing year, she saw the original mission becoming corrupted. What had started as a noble effort to protect and nurture became an obsession with maintaining the status quo. The truth of the town's founding was hidden away, the winter spirit's imprisonment reframed as a joyous eternal Christmas. Holly's heart ached as she watched the gradual shift. The warm glow of Christmas magic began to feel artificial, a mask hiding the underlying imbalance. She saw her own parents, younger and full of idealism, struggling against the tide of complacency that had settled over the town. Just as the weight of these revelations threatened to overwhelm her, Holly found herself standing before the great Christmas tree, now fully grown. At its base, hidden from view, she saw a complex magical construct pulsing with latent power. The fail-safe. Understanding flooded through her. This was the key to everything, a way to restore balance if the binding of winter ever broke. But as she reached out to touch it, the magical backlash sent her reeling. Holly gasped, the vision releasing her with a jolt that felt like plunging into icy water. She found herself back in the present, collapsed on the floor of the gingerbread cottage bakery. Jack and Juniper knelt beside her, their faces etched with concern. "Holly," Juniper cried, helping her sister sit up. "What happened? You've been out for hours." Holly's head spun, her entire body aching as if she'd run a marathon. She felt magically drained, as if the vision had sapped her very essence. "I saw everything," she managed to croak, her throat dry and raw. Jack conjured a glass of ice water, pressing it gently to her lips. As Holly sipped, feeling strength slowly returning, she began to recount what she had witnessed. Our ancestors, she said, her voice growing stronger, they weren't villains. They were trying to protect everyone from an endless winter they didn't understand. But over time, the mission got twisted. We forgot the truth, forgot the balance we were supposed to maintain. Juniper's eyes widened as she absorbed the information. And this failsafe you saw? What exactly does it do? Holly shook her head, frustration evident in her voice. I'm not sure. The vision ended before I could fully understand it. But I think it's a way to reset everything. To give us a chance to make things right if the binding of winter ever fully broke. Jack helped Holly to her feet, his cool touch soothing her overheated skin. We need to find this failsafe, he said, his voice urgent. If Glacia's awakening and Frostheart's attack have weakened the binding as much as we fear, it might be our only hope. As Holly steadied herself, leaning on her friends for support, she felt the full weight of what she had learned settle upon her shoulders. We've been living a lie, she said softly. All of Mary Hollow has. We thought our eternal Christmas was a blessing, but it was just a beautiful cage. We need to make this right. Juniper nodded, her face set with determination. And we will. Together. But first, you need to rest and recover your strength. That vision took a lot out of you. Holly wanted to argue, to insist they act immediately, but she knew her sister was right. She could barely stand, let alone perform the complex magic that would likely be required to activate the failsafe. As Jack and Juniper helped her to the couch, Holly's mind raced with everything she had learned. The Founder's noble intentions, the gradual corruption of their mission, the hidden failsafe that might be their only hope, it all swirled in her thoughts, pieces of a puzzle she was desperate to solve. We need to tell the others, Holly said as she settled onto the cushions. Pepper, Mayor Candy Cane, everyone. They deserve to know the truth about our town's history. Jack nodded, frost swirling around his fingers as he paced. Agreed. But we need to be careful how we present this information. If people panic or refuse to believe us, it could make our job even harder. As they discussed how best to share their discoveries, Holly felt her strength slowly returning. The magical exhaustion began to ebb, replaced by a burning determination to set things right. Suddenly, a shrill, otherworldly sound pierced the air. Holly, Jack, and Juniper jumped to their feet, recognizing it immediately as Mary Hollow's magical alarm system, a sound that hadn't been heard in generations. What now? Juniper groaned, her hands already glowing with defensive magic. They rushed to the window, and Holly felt her heart sink at the sight that greeted them. In the town square, a swirling vortex of winter magic was forming, growing larger by the second. Citizens ran for cover as icy winds whipped through the streets, carrying with them the mournful cries of long-imprisoned winter spirits. The binding, Jack said, his voice tight with worry. It's breaking down completely. Holly squared her shoulders, pushing aside her lingering exhaustion. Then we don't have any more time to waste. We need to find that failsafe, and we need to find it now. As they prepared to head out into the magical maelstrom, Holly felt a mixture of fear and exhilaration. Everything she had learned, everything she had ever believed about her home, was about to be put to the test. Remember, she said to Jack and Juniper as they stood at the bakery door, whatever happens, we're in this together. For Mary Hollow, and for the balance of magic itself. With a shared nod of determination, they stepped out into the swirling chaos. The final battle for Mary Hollow's soul, and the very nature of its magic, was about to begin. As they made their way towards the town square, fighting against the intensifying winter winds, Holly's mind raced with everything she had learned in her vision. The failsafe, hidden at the base of the great Christmas tree, was their best hope for restoring balance. But would they be able to reach it in time? Citizens of Mary Hollow huddled in doorways and behind magical barriers, their faces a mixture of fear and confusion. Holly's heart ached for them, knowing that their entire understanding of their home was about to be shattered. As Glacia raised her hands, summoning a wave of freezing magic, Holly knew they were out of time. With a silent prayer to whatever forces might be listening, she made a desperate lunge for the failsafe. Her fingers brushed against the pulsing magical construct just as Glacia's winter blast hit. There was a blinding flash of light, a sensation of falling, and then silence. Holly opened her eyes to find herself floating in a void of swirling magic. Around her, she could see her friends, Jack, Juniper, Pepper, similarly suspended. And there, facing them, was Glacia, her form less corporeal now, more a manifestation of winter itself. "Where are we?" Jack's voice echoed strangely in the magical space. The heart of the fail-safe, Holly realized, the knowledge coming to her instinctively. A place between moments, where we can make a choice that will reshape everything. Glacia's voice, when she spoke, was softer now, tinged with a sadness as old as the first snowfall. A choice? What choice is there? The balance was broken long ago. Holly felt a surge of compassion for the ancient spirit. The choice to make things right, she said gently. Not by destroying what was built, but by creating something new. A true balance between winter and Christmas magic, between change and tradition. As she spoke, images began to form in the swirling magic around them. Holly saw visions of Merry Hollow as it could be, a place where the seasons turned in their natural cycle, but where the spirit of Christmas remained a constant undercurrent of joy and generosity. "It won't be easy," Juniper added, her voice strong and sure. "We'll have to relearn so much, adapt to a world that changes." But isn't that what both winter and Christmas are about? Renewal, hope, the promise of new beginnings? Pepper, her small face shining with determination, chimed in. "And we won't be alone. The Magical Council, all the other magical communities, they can learn from us, just as we can learn from them. We can create a new kind of harmony." Glacia was silent for a long moment, her form shifting like snowflakes in the wind. When she finally spoke, her voice held a note of wonder. Perhaps there is wisdom in your words. A new balance, freely chosen rather than forced." Holly held out her hand, a gesture of trust and reconciliation. "Together?" she asked. Slowly, hesitantly, Glacia reached out. As their hands touched, a pulse of magic radiated outward, filled with the potential for change and renewal. "Together," Glacia agreed. The void around them began to spin, faster and faster, magic of all kinds, winter's chill, Christmas warmth, and countless other flavors of power, blending into a harmonious whole. Holly felt a sensation of falling, of returning. The last thing she heard before consciousness fully claimed her was Glacia's voice, soft as the first snowfall of winter. "Wake now, children of Merry Hollow. Wake to a new dawn, and a new balance." With a gasp, Holly's eyes flew open. She found herself lying in the snow of the town square, her friends stirring beside her. As she sat up, blinking in the bright winter sunlight, she realized something had fundamentally changed. The great Christmas tree stood tall and proud, but now its evergreen branches were dusted with a layer of natural snow. The eternal Christmas lights had dimmed, but in their place, the snow itself seemed to sparkle with an inner light that spoke of magic and possibility. All around them, the citizens of Merry Hollow were emerging from their homes, looks of wonder on their faces as they took in the transformed town. Gone was the artificial eternal Christmas, replaced by a true winter scene that somehow still held all the joy and magic of the holiday season. As Holly regained her strength, a magical alarm suddenly sounded throughout the town, signaling a new crisis. The shrill, otherworldly noise pierced the air, causing Holly, Jack, and Juniper to jump to their feet. "What now?" Juniper groaned, her hands already glowing with defensive magic. They rushed to the window, and Holly felt her heart sink at the sight that greeted them. In the town square, a swirling vortex of winter magic was forming, growing larger by the second. Citizens ran for cover as icy winds whipped through the streets, carrying with them the mournful cries of long-imprisoned winter spirits. "The binding," Jack said, his voice tight with worry. It's breaking down completely. Holly squared her shoulders, pushing aside her lingering exhaustion. Then we don't have any more time to waste. We need to communicate with Glacia directly. It's our only chance to prevent catastrophe. As they hurried to prepare for the dangerous communication ritual that would allow them to enter Glacia's realm, Holly's mind raced with everything she had learned in her vision. The complexity of Mary Hollow's history, the good intentions that had led to such dire consequences, it all weighed heavily on her. "Remember," she said to Jack and Juniper as they gathered the necessary magical components, "whatever happens in there, we're in this together." For Mary Hollow, and for the balance of magic itself. With a shared nod of determination, they began the ritual, magical energies crackling around them as they prepared to confront the spirit of winter herself.